The Philadelphia Eagles are sitting pretty at 4-0 in big part due to the defensive prowess and the young guys figuring it out early on. But on the flip side, they have a very tough decision to make coming up here in the next few weeks, one that could really impact the future for a specific player. So we'll talk about that. And A.J. Brown finally gets in front of the media and apologizes. All that and more coming up here on A to Z Philly. But welcome into the show. I'm RB, and we have to start it off with the man of the week, the man of the day. We've talked about Quinyon Lockdown Quinyon, Quinyon Mitchell, call him Quinyon accolades because, man, this guy just continues to rack up the awards early in his career. Now he's got the NFC Defensive Player of the Week, 5 tackles, 5 pass deflections. He was all over Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin, and he is just becoming one of the best corners in the NFL already. Now, in other news, Eagles veteran long snapper Charlie Hewlett sustained a core injury and, according to his agent, had successful surgery yesterday and will be back in a couple months. The Eagles then went out and signed a new long snapper, so this could definitely affect things on special teams. I mean, we've been used to it so long with Rick Lovato, right? Just, greatness every single week and just showing up, doing his job, never really getting hurt. Now they've had some bumps in the road this season, so we'll see what happens with the long snapper position. But we have to get to the offense because, ladies and gentlemen, A.J. Brown finally came out and issued an apology for what happened a few days ago after the game with the cryptic tweet. It's been literally the talk of the town this week. We have not really been able to enjoy the win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because A.J.'s actions overshadowed it, and I said that he was being selfish. Don't get me wrong. I love A.J., I think he's one of the best players on the team, and I think he's one of the most impactful players week to week in the NFL. So let's hear what he had to say about his actions on Sunday night.
First off, I want to start out by saying, obviously, Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continue to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that. Posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. My coaches, my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability.
So A.J. Brown comes out and he simply apologizes. He takes accountability. He says, my message on Twitter was not directed at anybody in the building, not my coaches, my quarterback, my GM. Now, obviously, that's a lie. I mean, it had to be directed at somebody, but he came out. He took accountability for it. He apologized. I'm good. Listen, man, we have no problem with A.J. Brown. Although he can be a little bit of a distraction at times, he is one of the best players in the NFL. In my eyes, talent-wise, he's the best receiver in franchise history. He's that good, and obviously, we don't want this to happen again, but he finally came out, spoke to the media, didn't try to make any excuses. He said, it's my fault, my bad. That's on me. I let my frustrations boil over, and it takes a real man to do that. So you know what? I have no other issues. I'm good. We can finally let this go and move on to being a dominant, undefeated team. And in addition, A.J. Brown goes on to explain the root of his frustrations.
But I think it's fair to want the ball to get us going. Like last week against the Rams, I caught the sluggo, got the offense going next play, opened up for Dallas Goedert. The safety came over to my side and opened it up. So, I don't think it's a bad thing for one the ball. It's not just for targets or anything to put numbers up. But no, I see that we're struggling, and I'm a guy that wants the ball in those times when we can't find a way. Give it to me. Like when the game's on the line, give the ball to me.
Listen, man, I love that attitude. He says it's fair to want to get the ball, to get us going, not because I need my numbers, but it opens up the offense. It makes life so much easier, and I agree 1,000% with A.J. Brown. Make it easy if the Eagles can do that consistently. And he talks about opening up the field. If they can make it so much easier on themselves, this team is already good enough. You can see that. It's evident with the fact they still win these games, even though they raise our blood pressure. And the Eagles can honestly be unbeatable if they make it easy on themselves by giving the ball to A.J. Brown. He says, when we can't find a way, just give me the ball. I'll go out there and do my thing. My teammates know that. I'm focused on winning. I just want to help the team win and make us better. And I agree with that 100%. And I think that really is where his intentions were rooted. He did it the wrong way. and he can't do that in the future, right? Because then it creates all these distractions. But at the end of the day, it is amazing to have a player like this on your team. So Kevin Patullo, give him the damn ball, and we can avoid all this going forward. Does that sound like a deal? And he says, this is my home. I did it to myself. I love it here. You see frustration. We want to be great. That's all I needed to hear. We're good. Let's not ever talk about this again. How about that? Well, on the other side, Jalen Hurts actually echoes the AJ sentiment as well. He says we need to stay together and band together. He says he sees the light turning a negative into a positive. It's not about him or not about AJ Brown. It's about the collective. It's about the team. Jalen says they need to find consistency. Exactly. Because if you guys do that, this team, especially with how the defense is coming around, is going to be a dynasty. Let's just say. Let's just put it out there. If they keep doing this for an extensive period of time, for continued greatness, nobody is getting in this team's way. Nobody. Now, speaking of the defense, we have to talk about an interesting situation coming up because today, the Eagles designated linebacker Nakobe Dean to return from the PUP list. Yeah, you remember Nakobe? The guy who took a huge leap last year. He was an absolute stud. Nakobe Dean had an amazing year 3 leap, and he really worked his butt off to get where he was. And it kind of goes against the old saying of, hey, it's never a bad problem to have too much talent, right? I mean, here we are with an issue. Yes, it's great to have depth on your team, but Nakobe Dean is coming off a Super Bowl, and he is coming off a season where he took an unreal leap and is looking like one of the better linebackers in the league. And now you have not only Zach Bond, who really emerged as the best linebacker in the league last year, but Jihaad Campbell, who's been probably the defensive rookie of the year so far. And now you have Nakobe Dean coming back in the mix. 3 really good players that deserve to start. And unfortunately, it's only going to be 2 of them. I don't think any of those guys will cause a distraction or start to be egotistical and start to, complain if they don't have their way. But the Eagles have a big decision to make. And Nick Sirianni says, we will see. When asked about Nakobe's role when he comes back, he mentions that Bond and Campbell have played really good football and then adds that Nakobe played really well last year. And when you think about where this team is at with these players, Howie Roseman and the front office, I mean, realistically, are always going to side with the younger players, right? They're constantly trying to make this defense younger. They're trying to put themselves in position where once they have to sign all these players in the next year or two, they have money to work with, and they can still contend and compete at a high level. So like ESP says here, I mean, Nakobe was awesome, and he starts if he's never injured, and he's the guy, and who knows what they do with Jihaad Campbell, and he's worked so hard to come back, and he can affect the game in multiple ways. But unfortunately, based on where Nakobe's at in his rookie contract, and the fact that he's going to need a contract after this year, I just don't see it working out where Nakobe Dean comes back to this team next year. Can he still impact the field this year? Absolutely. Is he going to be a piece for this team? Yes. But the Eagles might even have to end up thinking about trading him at the deadline to get more value or to get more picks or to upgrade in a different area if Jihaad Campbell is still healthy come the trade deadline. Because I hate to say it, as good as Nakobe Dean is, Jihaad Campbell's better. I'm sorry, Jihaad Campbell is just a natural athlete. He can do everything from coverage to coming up on the line of scrimmage and getting at the quarterback. He has great hands. He made that game-saving play the other day. Through 4 games, he has 22 tackles, an interception, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. He looks like an absolute monster, and right now, he looks like the favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's how good he's been in just 4 games in the NFL. And it does suck too because Nakobe's also a great leader on defense. He's a Georgia guy, so he knows all of the other Georgia guys. Zach Bond and Nakobe are best friends. It's a really tough situation to be in. I guess the Eagles just have to play it by ear and see how things work out, and see how they can use guys in different ways to impact the game. But it is crazy to think about the fact that just a few years ago, the Eagles had really no solid linebackers for a long time, and they never paid much attention to the position, and they never put it as a top priority. And now they're sitting at the point where they have the best linebacker core in the NFL, and they have extra guys. They have too many linebackers. So it's just crazy how things have played out in this situation and really how good they've been at drafting. But that is where we're at. What do you think they should do with Nakobe Dean, Jihaad Campbell, Zach Bond? Give me all your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you all in the next one.